with Walcott Rivers for 13 years. When I first started with them, I started doing a lot of litigation. I read up about the firm, really excited about the firm, so you end up doing something you're not comfortable with. And it was a great beginning for me. You learn so much when you're in court. You have to think on your feet, but most importantly, you realize that the transactions that started maybe a year or 2 years ago and how those documents are drafted will impact how they're litigated later. So starting out doing a lot of litigation has really helped me in the drafting and also the preparation of documents, whether it's a transactional document or an estate plan document. How I read and view those documents is entirely different because of my litigation background. It's a great firm. We have 28 attorneys. So I still hold my CPA license, and I use it pretty much every day. Some of the things that I do on a regular basis is business formations. I probably meet with clients at least 4 or 5 of them a month to form a new business. And a lot of attorneys who do not appreciate the tax aspect of it will out of the box say you need to be X. And usually that X is a limited liability company because it's, quote, the latest, greatest entity in Virginia. They don't think about how's that entity going to be taxed. And depending on the type of activity that entity has, a partnership taxation might not be the best choice. So with practicing business formations, I use my CPA all the time. And that's part of my initial consultation with the client is, what do you want to do so we can figure out what's the best tax entity? Hopefully they've met with their CPA and they already have an understanding of what they want to do as far as formation, but 9 times out of 10, they haven't made that determination yet. Another aspect of what I do business succession planning. Business succession planning is really trying to have the business owners have an entity in shape that they can pass off. And that they may pass that off to another key employee or a child. Why that's important is 9 times out of 10, if there is no succession plan, that business will fail. Even if the second generation takes over the business, the percentage that fail are usually 20 to 30%. The third generation, it becomes even further. And that's because the parents or the owners haven't groomed their children. They haven't designed a business succession plan to last about 10 years before they want to exit the company. A good business succession plan should start probably 5 to 10 years before the parent or the owner wants to come out of the company so that they can properly groom everyone. In doing that, I use my CPA license to look at the financials to gain an understanding how's the best structure for the business succession plan. Right now, owner, you are paying yourself a salary of $100,000. But if we sell your shares to your child over the course of 5 to 10 years, we can convert your $100,000 of salary, which is ordinary income, to some other form of income. Or, hey, let's buy a warehouse or a building for the business to operate, and then you can have the business lease from your LLC that owns the business. That'll also give you an additional stream of income. That goes into all the business succession planning over time to really make sure that that entity will continue to mature and it will also be a livelihood and a legacy for the family. Another aspect of what I do on a regular basis is estate planning and tax planning. This week I had a family come in. They have about $4 million in real estate. Obviously, right now that's not a big issue because of the exemption amount for estate tax purposes. But come 2013, depending on what Congress does, that could be a very big issue for them because they have an illiquid estate and they may have estate taxes due depending on what happens with their estate taxes. It's easy to apply the CPA license in the field of tax because as students and taking, some people might be CPAs in here, you know how often that you're looking at the internal the revenue code or the regulations if you're doing tax compliance. That's pretty much my range. Other areas, what I do is commercial real estate, residential real estate. Typically, other than on the formation side of an entity to hold commercial real estate, the CPA license doesn't come into play. I work a lot with CPAs. I do not do any tax compliance. I always tell the client if they want me to do their tax return that they really need to have a CPA do it because I'm just way too expensive. We're not set up the same way CPA firms. You don't want to pay me to do your data entry into software when the CPA firms have levels of professionals to do that. So I do not do any tax compliance that I do.
Yeah.
Interns, yeah. First levels and so the other areas that I do not do is accounting work. I do look at financials. I make recommendations to clients to take that type of work to their CPAs. As a CPA, they assist in a lot of litigation. If you have a passion for litigation, then, and you don't want to go through the 3 years to become a lawyer, you might want to consider a path of being an expert. In the litigation field, particularly in business transactions gone bad or divorces between business owners, they often look to the CPA to come in and give expert testimony. Or they'll ask the CPA to give them an analysis to help them evaluate the case for their client. So as CPAs, you'll be looked upon by other professionals like lawyers to come in and assist because traditionally, lawyers hate numbers. They despise numbers for some reason. I think the reason is you can't manipulate numbers. Numbers are numbers. You can manipulate your witness on the stand. You can cross, you can get them in a box, you can do all that. But when it comes to numbers, you can't do it. So lawyers traditionally do not like numbers, and that's where the CPA profession really comes in to help assist the legal profession. Beyond practicing law, I'm also an adjunct here, and see Jessica survived the midterm, which is good. But I teach business law, professional ethics. I teach fiduciary income tax in the summer and partnership income tax in the fall currently. Beyond that, I'm also chair of Catholic Charities, which is a not-for-profit organization. And that's also an area that some of you will